Welcome to this explainer. Today we're stepping right into the high-stakes, zero-margin-for-error world of defense aero-engine software quality assurance. We are breaking down exactly what it takes to crack the QA lead interview for Rolls-Royce right in the tech hub of Bengaluru. You know, if you've ever wondered how top aerospace executives actually sleep at night knowing their software is flying tens of thousands of feet in the air, the answer is the rigorous hiring process we're about to unpack. They rely heavily on exceptional QA leaders to mitigate catastrophic risk. So if you're aiming for a leadership role that literally impacts global safety, you are in exactly the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our tactical playbook for today. We'll cover the Rolls-Royce opportunity, key role responsibilities, core candidate requirements, the 4 pillars of preparation, and finally, the interview gauntlet.
Starting with Section 1, the Rolls-Royce opportunity and the stakes involved.
Rolls-Royce might be a century-old pioneer, but they are incredibly forward-looking. To really grasp the gravity of this role, just think about this number, 16,000. That's the number of defense aero engines Rolls-Royce powers globally. From an executive perspective, QA isn't just some basic cost center, right? It's their primary risk mitigation strategy. When your software interacts with 16,000 engines, reliability isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute critical mandate. A software failure here doesn't just crash a mobile app, it creates a massive global headline.
And building on that massive scale, those engines are operating across 100 different countries. That means the software you're testing has to comply with a highly complex web of international safety standards, completely different environments, and super strict regulatory frameworks. As a QA lead, you're essentially the gatekeeper. You're ensuring the product maintains its integrity no matter where it's deployed on the globe.
Moving on to Section 2, Key Role Responsibilities.
Look, being a QA lead at this level isn't just about executing automated scripts all day. You're managing end-to-end testing activities. You'll be reviewing requirements and estimating efforts, which is absolutely crucial because the leadership team relies on your estimates to forecast project timelines and millions of dollars in budgets. You'll also participate in design reviews to ensure quality is baked in from day one. And, maybe most importantly, you'll train and mentor junior engineers in Agile. Executives know that speed to market has to be perfectly balanced with zero-defect quality, and they need leaders on the ground who can cultivate that exact mindset within their teams.
What's really interesting here is the duality of the mindset required. You have to perfectly balance the test-to-pass methodology, which is basically proving the software successfully does exactly what the business needs it to do, with the test-to-fail methodology. That's where you're actively and creatively trying to break the system before it ever goes live. This balanced approach is exactly what builds the robust, resilient products that safeguard the company's entire reputation.
All right, Section 3, core candidate requirements. Let's look at what they want.
So the baseline here is 5 to 7 years of pure quality assurance experience, but look closely at the second half of this requirement. It has to be backed by a solid software development background. This is a massive differentiator for this role. Companies at this tier want QA leaders who actually understand how the code is written, not just how to test it. Having that architectural understanding allows you to pinpoint vulnerabilities way earlier in the development lifecycle, which saves the business significant time and resources.
And here's your technical checklist. You've got to have proficiency in a core language like Java, Python, C, or C++. You absolutely need hands-on database management system experience because data integrity is everything. Mastery of Agile and meticulous test documentation is required. And let's be honest, finding an engineer who genuinely enjoys writing test documentation is kind of like finding a unicorn, but executives absolutely demand that level of rigorous record-keeping. You'll also need deep expertise in automation frameworks like Selenium or HPE. And while it might say preferred, having that ISTQB certification goes a really long way in proving you have a globally recognized foundation in testing standards. Honestly, consider these your non-negotiables.
Let's move to Section 4, the 4 pillars of preparation.
And this brilliantly illustrates how you can chunk your study time so you don't get overwhelmed. We've broken your prep roadmap into 4 manageable pillars. First, methodologies, where you review concepts like boundary value analysis. Second, automation and coding, focusing on Java, Selenium, and framework design. Third is database and Agile, brushing up on complex SQL queries and Scrum rituals. And fourth, leadership, where you prepare real-world examples of mentoring team members and mitigating project risks. If you structure your prep around this framework, you're going to walk into that room demonstrating the exact organized, analytical mindset that executives are eager to hire.
For example, under that methodology pillar, you really need to be able to clearly articulate foundational concepts, like equivalence partitioning.
This is a technique that divides input data to drastically reduce your test cases while still maintaining full coverage. Now, why does this matter to the business? Because it optimizes testing time, maximizes efficiency, and provides an incredible return on investment for the entire QA department's efforts.
Finally, Section 5, the interview gauntlet.
Question 1 is your ultimate high-stakes crisis scenario. How do you handle a critical bug found just hours before deployment? Listen, they don't just want a technical answer here. They want to see your leadership under fire. Do you panic? Do you blindly delay the release? Executives are looking for a leader who can quickly assess the blast radius of the bug, communicate the real risk clearly to stakeholders, and make a completely data-driven, level-headed recommendation on whether to patch, roll back, or delay.
Question 2. Can you walk us through how you designed a test automation framework from scratch? This is where you prove you aren't just a user of tools, but a true architect. You need to explain the how and the why of your design, particularly how you utilized page object models to ensure the framework was highly scalable and easy to maintain. These companies invest heavily in automation, so you need to assure them you aren't going to build a fragile framework that just turns into a costly maintenance nightmare down the road.
Question 3. How do you approach translating ambiguous business requirements into robust test scenarios? This is a classic leadership test. Business leaders and product managers often speak in very broad strokes. Your job as a QA lead is to take that ambiguity and translate it into rigorous, mathematically sound technical checks. They want to see exactly how you create clarity and robust documentation out of total chaos. Question 4 focuses heavily on soft skills. Give an example of a time you mentored a struggling junior engineer. Technical skills only go so far in a lead role. Building a resilient, high-performing team is a massive priority for the C-suite. They want to hear about your empathy, your communication style, and your proven ability to elevate the people around you to ensure long-term departmental success.
Now, if you're looking at these requirements and these intense interview questions and thinking you might need an extra edge, let's look at how you can bridge that gap between foundational QA and advanced engineering. For those wanting to truly stand out in highly competitive hiring processes like this one, the source material highly recommends checking out the Cosmiclatte Learning Hub.
Specifically, their comprehensive training on automotive infotainment testing is incredible. It covers real-time system testing and hardware-in-the-loop validation. And yeah, while it says automotive, mastering this complex software-hardware integration is exactly the kind of cross-industry expertise that perfectly aligns with the rigorous safety standards at a company like Rolls-Royce. Executives highly value candidates who understand how software behaves when it meets actual physical hardware in real time.
So here's what it all comes down to. Have you mastered your automation frameworks and leadership skills enough to secure this position today? It's a very high bar, for sure. But remember, when you are the one responsible for the software that keeps 16,000 engines safely in the sky, you simply can't afford to be anything less than exceptional. The real question is, are you ready to lead? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.